friends, today we're moving on in math to units of measurement. So we're moving away from coins and we're moving into the ways that we can measure things, how we measure them, what tools we measure with them, and comparing lengths. Now, we measure things all the time in our lives. For example, if you're baking, you might measure things in teaspoons or cups. If you're thinking about measuring liquids, you might be measuring things in gallons, like a gallon of milk. We measure things with distance, miles, kilometers. We measure things with time, minutes, seconds, hours. But we're working on 3 units of measurement today. These units of measurement help us tell distance, the point from A to B, either in length, which is horizontal, side to side, height, or sometimes thickness or width, okay? So the 3, and there are a lot of different units of measurement even within this kind of measuring distance, but the 3 that we're focusing on are an inch, that's the word when it's singular, 1 inch. Another one is foot, 1 foot. And the last one is a yard, 1 yard. Now these are the units of measurement. We have different tools that help us measure in these units. So for example, for an inch, you might use a ruler to use and be able to see the inches and measure something in inches. A foot is 1 ruler long, or 12 inches. A yard, we have yardsticks, and it takes 3 feet in a yard. So if you put 3 rulers back to back, that would equal the same distance as a yardstick. Do you remember me using yardsticks in the class to point at things on the board? Now, in order to make inches into feet, we have to say 12 in 1 foot, and then 3 feet to yard, so that's 12 plus 12 plus 12, so 36 inches in 1 yard. So we have tools such as rulers, yardsticks, we even have measuring tape. Okay, all of these are tools that we can use to measure from point A to point B. But today we're really thinking about what type of unit of measurement is appropriate or the right one to choose when we're measuring something around our house or anywhere in life, okay? We want to match up the appropriate type of measurement with the thing that we're measuring. The smaller the thing is, the smaller unit of measurement we have to use. The bigger the thing is, we have to go and use a bigger unit of measurement. Now on this chart, I've listed them from smallest to biggest for these 3. Remember, there are units of measurement smaller than inches, such as centimeters, and there are units of measurement bigger than yards, such as miles, okay? So these aren't our only ones. These are the ones we're using today because they match up with Eureka Module 7-8, Lesson 16, okay? We're going to be using what you learn in today's lesson to be able to complete Lesson 16 homework on page 81 in your book, okay? So watch this lesson and then you can complete page 81 in your Eureka book. Okay, so let's look at these units of measurement. The smallest of the 3 is the inch. So the smallest of these 3, an inch is about the same length as a small paper clip. Here is 1 inch. I used my measurement tape to make 1 inch here. So that's probably about half my pinky size, from the tip of my pinky to the middle knuckle right there. That's about 1 inch. If you have a ruler at home, see if you can hold up your ruler to see how long it takes or how much of your finger is an inch, okay? And that will kind of help you use it as a benchmark if your ruler isn't around. So we need 12 inches to make a foot, or 1 ruler. The foot is the next unit of measurement that's bigger. It's the length of a ruler. I use the measurement tape to create this foot right here. So if you picture it as a ruler, you can picture the 12 inches that sit inside 1 foot, okay? You need 3 of these to equal the same length as 1 yard. A yard is about the height up to your doorknob. So if you picture the floor and you measure from the floor up to the doorknob on your door, that is about a yard. Also, if you measure the width of your door from the doorknob or from one end of your door to the other end where the hinge is, that is also about a yard. So now that we're familiar with these 3 units of measurement, we need to look and see if we can play a sorting game. on lesson 16 homework, they're going to ask you to look at an object, okay, a noun, a thing, something that you might find around your house or in your classroom. And they're going to ask you what is the appropriate way to measure it, which unit of measurement is the most appropriate if you wanted to see how long that thing was, okay? So we're going to be able to choose inch, foot, or yard, okay? So would I use inches on a ruler? Would I use one or more ruler, or would I use one or more yardstick to try to measure it? Remember, the smaller the thing is, it needs a smaller unit of measurement. The bigger the thing is, you should be using a bigger unit of measurement. So for example, if I wanted to measure how tall my coffee mug was, I would need to use inches. Because if you picture a ruler, my coffee mug is going to be a lot smaller than a ruler. So it would be more appropriate to use inches to measure it. Cafeteria tray. Think about the tray you use to pick up your cafeteria food. If you wanted to measure the length, not the height, but the length of the cafeteria tray, that would be about one ruler long, okay? It would be most appropriate to use feet or 1 foot to measure that. Now, if you wanted to measure the length or how long your bed was, it would be most appropriate to use a yardstick. Can you imagine how much it would take to use inches and count up how long your bed is in inches? Like, you can do it. There are some things that people like to use inches for versus yards, and that's fine, right? For the purpose of this exercise, we're trying to match up the size of something and match it with the appropriate and the easiest unit of measurement, okay? So, what about a phone? Your cell phone. Would you measure a cell phone in inches, feet, or yards? Inches. Okay, we'll put that under inches because it's less than a ruler, so you wouldn't need to go any bigger than inches. Okay, what about a slice of bread? Inches. Okay, you would use inches to measure a slice of bread. Now, if you were measuring the entire loaf of bread, you might use a ruler for that because it's bigger than the size of a ruler. Okay, what about a car? Is it appropriate to use inches? What about rulers? How about yards? Right, it would be easiest to use a yardstick to measure it, okay? Because it would only take like, what, 3 or 4 yardsticks to do it versus like hundreds and hundreds of inches. Okay, what about your backyard? If you wanted to measure from your back door to the back part of the fence, if you have a backyard, just picture it, would it be most appropriate to use inches, feet, or yards? Yards, right. You want to use the biggest unit of measurement because that's a bigger item. Okay, what about a doorknob? Inches, right, because it is smaller than a ruler, so a ruler wouldn't really be that appropriate to measure it in feet. You would want to use a ruler because you can see the inches on the ruler, but it's not going to even be a foot long. What about a milk jug? If you wanted to measure the height, that's up and down, the height of a milk jug, what would you use? You could use feet as the unit of measurement because it's probably about the same size as a ruler. This one was an interesting one that we debated a little bit in class. A child. Now, we as people, we measure in feet and inches, okay, just FYI, but we were also debating the age of the child is what matters. If you are measuring an 8-year-old, say someone in our class, it will be most appropriate to use feet and inches. Now, if you were measuring a newborn baby, it might be most appropriate to use only inches, right? Because it might not even be a full foot. Okay, what about, let's do a couple more. What about a computer mouse? Inches, feet, or yards? Inches. What about a boat? A yard. You would want to measure that in yards. What about the height of your refrigerator? Yeah, yard. You would want to use a yardstick. That would be probably the easiest. Okay, remote control. Inches. Let's see, one more. If you had the whole thing and no one had eaten a slice yet, a pizza, you might use a ruler, okay? But what if you only wanted to do one slice of pizza? Perhaps it would be inches. Okay, so if you go to Lesson 16 homework that starts on page 81, they're going to ask you to compare household items, and they're going to ask you to circle which unit of measurement is most appropriate to measure that item. Now that you've done this activity, you should be successful on that assignment. They're also going to ask you to compare an object with the unit of measurement. For example, say I had this clock, okay? Then they're going to give you a unit of measurement like inches, okay? Would this clock be more than, less than, or about the same as an inch? It's definitely more than 1 inch, okay? What if they compared it with a ruler? More than, less than a 12-inch ruler. And then your other choice is the same as. Yeah, it's probably about the same as a 12-inch ruler. Okay, so they're going to ask you to compare. Then on the back page on page 82, you're going to find household items in your house or your apartment, and then you can write what the appropriate unit of measurement would be for that thing. Earlier when we were in class, we chose our cats, dogs, couches, clocks, spoon. So any household item that you have, write which of these 3 would be the appropriate unit of measurement to measure the length of that item or the height. Okay, bye.